Yeah, buddy, 70,000 miles. Woohoo! Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So, just turned over 70,000 miles, and today I wanted to walk you guys through the ownership experience and a list of all the problems that I've had with the car, as well as some successes. So, let's dig on into it. Now, don't let this video discourage you guys, but I'm going to start with the problems that I've had with the car, and then we'll move on from there. So, problem number one, right after I got the car, I'd say within about 2 weeks of buying the car, I had I stopped at a customer's house, and I looked. Well, for one thing, I could hear some odd noise. That's the way it started. Some odd noise coming from underneath the car. And it sounded like a paper bag or something was stuck under the car, kind of fluttering around. Well, I stopped at a customer's house, looked under the car, and a portion of the air dam at the rear, by the right rear wheel, right by the suspension arm, a chunk about this big was hanging off. And I eventually tore it off, and I saved it. I was going to reattach it, but come to find out it was a common issue with these, something about the way the air would catch it, and it would eventually tear down. It's a small chunk, not a big deal. And I'll see if I've got a picture of it. We had it up on a hoist and we're looking at it, and it wasn't a big deal, but that was the first issue that I had. And then about a month and a half into the ownership experience, I had issue number two, and that was I got an error, a fault that came up on the screen that said charge port door malfunction, call for service. The door still opened and closed just fine, and it still charged just fine. Well, come to find out that there was an issue with that door where water would get in there, and I noticed that I would get the fault when it would rain or when I'd go through a car wash. Water would get into the charge port, and I would get that error. And so Tesla sent out mobile service team, and the mobile service department replaced that charge door at no cost to me. It was an extensive repair requiring about 2 hours of time, and he had pulled the back seat out and I got pictures of the car. That was pretty cool. So that was item number two. Item number three, I don't know that this is really a problem because it doesn't have much to do with the design of the car, but I had a small rock chip in the glass roof. Now, a number of people told me that windshield companies won't repair chips on a Tesla glass roof, that you need a whole new roof panel. But I didn't want a new roof panel, it was under warranty, but I thought, I gotta bring it all the way. Plus, I have glass insurance for the whole car. But I thought, I got to bring it into the service department, whatever. So I talked to Safelite Auto Glass, which is who American Family, my insurance provider, uses, and they said, sure, we'll give it a shot. So they came out and did the simple chip repair, and there's the tiniest little pinpoint speck of where it was, but there was a little bit of a crack, but they fixed it. So that was sort of interesting. Now, beyond that, I had numerous glitches with the car, and now everyone has screen glitches, but when I first got the car, I was pressing both thumb wheels to reset the screen, I would say 2 to 4 times a day. And I've had people tell me they don't believe me, but bear in mind also I drive 160 miles a day, so every 40 to 80 miles I'm resetting the darn screen. I would have weird hieroglyphics would come up. There were numerous issues that I had to continually reset the screen. So that, as I've gotten software updates over the year and a half or so that I've owned the car, those glitches have become less and less frequent, to the point where now I recycled the screen about a week ago because my phone didn't want to Bluetooth connect with the car. But I think that was an issue with my phone. I recycled the screen and restarted my phone, and it worked. So, but those glitches are becoming much fewer and further between. Another issue, I don't know that you call it an issue, but the factory 18-inch Aero wheels and tires, the tires wear very rapidly. Now, currently I have 20-inch wheels with aftermarket tires installed, and I still have the factory 18-inch Aero wheels, but I put, I think it was 15,000 miles or something on the car, and then went ahead and bought new wheels and tires for it. And within that duration of time, the rear tires had worn probably 2/3 of the way down. So it appears as though the 18-inch wheels and tires are a 20,000 mile proposition. And so I don't know that that's a problem, but it's a little bit of a bummer that that would occur. Now, next wasn't Tesla related, but I've been run into twice. Now, once I was parked in a customer's driveway and they were in front of me. I pulled in behind them, and they were in the car. I didn't realize that the engine starts. I see the taillights turn on. I see the reverse lights go on. I start beeping, and they just nudged into the nose. It affected my paint protection film and whatever, but Body Shop corrected it. I didn't even need a bumper cover. They just, it was super simple. So that was one minor thing. And then I was a little bit more substantial. I was hit at the right rear corner. Somebody changed lanes into me, and didn't need a fender, but they did have to straighten it out a little bit and correct the paint there. So that occurred. I have had the car lowered, and I bought T-Sportline 1-inch lowering springs, and those lowering springs, I had those professionally installed by Custom Classics in the town of Island Lake, Illinois, and they've been the ones that have done the couple of body repairs to the car. They also, I'll get to that in a minute. They did ceramic coating on the car too, but so they were the ones that lowered it, and they then promptly applied to Tesla to become a certified service center for them, because they said that the car is so nice to work on. So they lowered it down for me, and very, very pleased with the lowering. I love the handling of the car. And again, I've had it ceramic coated. So also Custom Classics did the ceramic coating. They ceramic coated the entire car and the wheels. That was, I believe, $800. But again, it was the car and the wheel. Oh, well, it was beyond that. I had paintless dent removal on 3 dents. That was a couple $100, plus I had ceramic coating done to the body and the wheels. All total, it was like $801 for the paintless dent removal and the ceramic coating of the car and the wheels combined. And that includes a special product that they put over my paint protection film on the nose, which is another thing. The nose on my car is paint protection filmed. If you buy a Tesla, you're going to want to have paint protection film put on the nose, because it's such a flat, featureless nose that insects really stick out like a sore thumb. And cleaning them off is far, far easier with paint protection film than without. So, and that paint protection film was $500. I've actually had it done twice. It was done the one time, and then after that customer nudged the nose of my car, it gouged the protection film, so they redid it under her insurance. So they had to do it a second time. And but that has been a godsend. Rock chips and stuff, it protects the nose of the car. Been awesome. The most recent work that I had done was I had noise coming from the driver's side upper control arm. This is a common issue with early Model 3s. You'll turn the wheel slightly left and right and get kind of a sound, and when you hit bumps, you get almost a clunking, but not really. It's that creaking sound, but faster. It's kind of a sound as you hit bumps, and really annoying. It's not a safety issue. The ball joint doesn't wear out and get sloppy to make the car drive weird. In fact, it's too tight. And you can't change just the ball link. You have to change the entire upper control arm. And I did a video on that. The arm retails for $165. I got one on eBay for $100 or whatever it was. But I put that on myself in my driveway. A little disconcerting that happened when it did, but that was just a couple thousand miles ago. 68,000 miles when that occurred. Whatever. You can complain about it if you want, but that I easily corrected. Now, there have been a couple other minor things. In the heat, in the summer, these A-pillar covers will swell up. They'll bow and swell up, and you get this bow to them just from heat expansion. It's an issue, again, only with early Model 3s, and mine is VIN number 9,300 and something, so it's a relatively low VIN. And I never did have that fixed. I asked Tesla about it. They basically weren't going to do anything for me. They said if we put new A-pillar covers on, they're going to swell the same way. Whatever. I'm going to do a video on, I have an idea of how to correct that, and I will show you guys how to remove these A-pillar covers, repair that, and put them back on yourselves if you would like to do that. So that was another thing. One thing that right off the bat, right when I took delivery of the car, within a week, I noticed that the floor mats, I had heel marks from my shoes in the floor mats. The crappiest floor mats I've ever had in a car in my life. They were horrific. So I got nice aftermarket floor mats, and that solved it. And right now I have, for the winter, I have Max Spider 3D rubber floor mats. These things are amazing, but I do have good carpet floor mats for the summer as well. So that was an issue. And I know I'm complaining about issues, but the car has actually been wonderful. I bought an early car kind of expecting that there would be a few minor issues with it. And for those that are thinking the car's rattling, my clipboard on my passenger seat, I'm at work, my clipboard jingles a little bit. So that's not the car making noise when I hit bumps, it's just my clipboard. But the overall ownership experience of this car has been absolutely stellar. It has been stellar. One other thing I had, one other problem was, this was at maybe 55,000 miles, 60,000, something like that. I went to do a software update on the car, and the software update loaded incorrectly. And I thought, it said there was an error, and it tried numerous times, and it wouldn't load. The car wouldn't activate. Eventually it activated, but I had no power steering, no power brakes. Like, almost none of the features would work. In fact, the power steering was fighting me. I really couldn't drive the car. And the car was unusable for a day. Tesla corporate had to go in and into the software update thing, whatever, and unload it from my car. They had to go in and scrub that update off my car and do a software patch to block my car from receiving that update. That was horrible. That was horrible. And then I was scared to receive updates after that. But eventually, they corrected it, and then they resent the update like a week later, and it updated just fine. I also had one other update that while I was driving, one other problem, and that is while I was driving the car, one day, this was at about 40,000 miles or so, all of a sudden I got this error that said something like fatal software error, car shutting down, pull over where safe or something. I had no power to the car. I had bing, 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 bing errors coming up on the screen. It was bad. I pulled over and I pressed the thumb wheels to recycle the screen. It came up. Oh, the car activated, but it wouldn't go into drive, and then bing, 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 bing. I got all those errors come up again. And so I let's see here. Where was I? They came up, and then eventually I kept recycling it. The car activated and would let me drive, but I had no power steering or power brakes. A little bit similar to the software update issue, but not exactly the same. And so in that instance, I was able to get it to a customer's house that was like 1/8 of a mile up the road. Parked the car. I tried going in and powering it off by the screen, complete power off, powering it back on. I tried holding the brake while starting it with the thumb wheels, nothing. So what I did is I got to that customer's house and I did sort of a deep restart. Now you guys may tell me I'm crazy on this, but I've had a couple people tell me that this works, and it did in my situation. And what that was is I went in, powered the car down, got out and walked away from it, and did a service call for 20 minutes, freaking out the whole time about my car in the driveway. But when you do that, shut it off and let it cycle down for an extended period of time, what will happen is the car will shut down in a deeper way and reboot completely. I got out to the car and everything worked totally fine. And what was weird about that is when I called Tesla, they said, we're logged into your car. You have a major fault somewhere. Do not drive the car. And I said, I've got it active. I can move now. They said, do not drive the car. Don't drive the car. We're going to send a flatbed out. I said, I'm 1/8 of a mile away from a customer. Don't send the flatbed out just yet. I said, let me get somewhere else. They said, don't drive it. They were adamant. I said, I'm going to drive the car. They said, you're taking it under your own risk. You know, but we can see from our end it's a major fault somewhere in your system. And I don't think it's software, it's hardware. Well, again, I cycled the car off, powered it off from the screen, walked away from it, came back 20 minutes, 30 minutes later, and the car booted up and has been totally fine ever since. That was a scary one. So, electric cars, and Teslas in particular, are not totally problem free. They do have their issues. But I don't want to freak you guys out too much about this. The next thing I'll do, I'm going to go ahead and walk you guys through the blessings of owning this car.